I don't know where my phone is now. Hopefully it's in my truck. I hope. No.
No, what?
I don't want to restart my computer. No. Yeah, so we're live. That eyeball button is up. Thanks for tuning in to Porchcast Pottstown. You can find Porchcast Pottstown at Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate on Facebook and YouTube. We're Porchcast Pottstown on YouTube. We surpassed the 200
we did.
subscriber. Yeah. I don't know. But we're up to like
202.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good,
nice.
Right?
Very
Thanks
exciting.
for tuning in. I see people starting to come in. Don't forget to let us know that you're watching. Also, don't forget to hit that share button. I can see our viewership jump every time someone shares the show to their own news feed or group. So if you would like to help us spread the word about all the great things that are going on in Pottstown, please hit that share button. Like I say, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you can share a cat video, you can share Porchcast Pottstown. Don't let me see you with all your cat videos and then come to me and say, I don't know how to share Porchcast Pottstown.
Right.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Same way you shared that cat video.
Absolutely do.
I think at one point in time, like, cat videos were the #1 shared video on Facebook or something like this. Where's my cat lovers? Cat lovers, let us know if I'm right about that. I don't know what's going on with the camera. It looks like the camera is frozen. I'm going to try to see if I can get it unfrozen. But I'm not sure that I can. But you'll be able to hear us. And in the meantime, Amy.
Now it just has a PP.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. So I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to put the overlay back on. And then while you're doing that, while I'm doing that, why don't you chat with the audience, welcome people to the show. Chat amongst yourselves. Maybe tell everybody why we have a guest again today.
We do have a guest, which you can't see, but Todd Bainbridge is here. He's our historical Pottstown historian and historical liaison. I don't know what name.
I like historical liaison.
Historical liaison. You like to use the word liaison.
I take that.
Yeah. So Todd is going to help us finish up Black History Month, which technically ended at the end of February, but we do still have some information to share. So Matt and Todd will talk about finish up the Black History Month stories. And then next month we'll get into Women's History Month. So
yeah, next episode actually.
Yes.
So for all y'all that might not know, March is Women's History Month.
Yes. And March 2nd is Matt Green's birthday.
Tis.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday.
I got you a couple presents.
The camera's just not cooperating with us.
It's not working?
No. I don't know why.
I got you a couple presents.
You did? What did you get me? I'm not up on Facebook. I wonder why.
I don't know what's happening there.
I don't either.
It has been quite some time since we have had this kind of technical difficulty.
So according to Restream, I am streaming on Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. I don't have any information to the contrary, so I apologize.
Yeah, it's the camera connection for some reason.
The camera, you are not seeing camera because I think there needs to be an update for the camera software. It keeps asking me what I want to do with the camera. So for some reason, it's not reading the camera. Yeah, it's not even seeing it. Right. So let's do this.
All right.
I'm going to completely unplug the camera. Turn the camera off.
All right. Liz Harper says it's like a radio show. Yes, we're like an oldie time radio show.
And then if that's the case, we might just have to be an oldie time radio show.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'll try to keep people entertained with
voices and noises.
Voices, noises, posts into the comment section. You see that? That tells me that it's a little choppy with the sound. Yeah, I don't know. We've got a, well, part of the reason it's choppy with the sound is because I keep going off mic.
Right.
So that you might be experiencing that.
Right.
I'm going off mic to try to
You know what would
work
help?
with what would help?
A beer.
Please.
I second that.
So are these my birthday?
These are your birthday presents.
Birthday?
Yes. There's Pikeland Pills and a Hellas Lager.
Nice. I'll have a Pikeland Pills.
All right.
What would you
We'll
like?
make that too.
All right.
Make it 2.
Mhm.
Might as well
Please.
make it 4.
Okay.
Yeah, to start.
They're 12 ounces. That thing's gonna go quick.
It was
So you
sippy
have to
cup.
open it like right next to the microphone. Since we're a radio show, you have to really like hit it with the sound effects.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
keep trying. So let's see what I can come up with.
We got these seconds
These are
down
gonna be the
here.
Porchcast beers, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we have Porchcast beers that are actually from Pottstown.
Yeah.
Phil, I have a face for radio.
That's Matt Moyer's line. He likes that line too. Yeah. All right, we're just going to have a radio show today. I apologize, folks. I'm just going to leave up the Porchcast Pottstown logo, and we're just going to go old school, and you're just going to have to just listen to us.
right.
There's something
Well,
wrong with the
cheers.
software on the camera.
Cheers.
Cheers to my
Ching, ching.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
For
Matt.
anybody that wants to know, I'm 49 years old today. This is my 49th year on the planet. Yes.
It's your 50th year.
No. Well, yes. I'm
Right.
entering
So
my
when
50th.
you're 1, you've already completed 1 year.
Right. I'm entering my 50 year.
Enter at your 50th.
And I don't know how to think about
Yes.
that.
Welcome to the club where you fart and you throw out your back.
Just number on a piece of paper.
I literally pinched my back the other day I was moving a chair like this,
Uh-huh.
like 1 inch over,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my god, what was that?" And
So,
and I had to come home and go on the heating pad.
right. Last year, I slept wrong on my shoulder.
That's
And
another fun one.
My shoulder was jacked for like 3 months,
Yeah.
and like not just a little bit. Like I was in some serious
You should have
discomfort.
gone to Pam
Yeah.
for real. Yeah.
What's her story? Like, is she bought some land someplace and she's trying to create
Virginia.
some
Yeah, they're
hippie commune
Yeah,
or
they're
something?
building a house and a barn and horse thing down there. But they're just starting that process, so she's gonna be here for a while. But let me tell you something: she can work some magic.
Pam Doherty.
Doherty at Blues End. She's an amazing. This is not your like feel good, lovely massage. She can give those, but this is muscle therapy,
Mhm.
straight up muscle therapy.
I
I want to
wanna-
say hi to all the folks tuning in. Angela
Yes.
and Elizabeth Harper. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. And Bill Brogley, Phil, Susie, Kelly. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
William Paul Barogli, Esquire.
Esquire.
Kelly Horvat and her mother live over in East Coventry in those apartments that were affected by the fire.
Oh, no.
So I know that there's various relief efforts going on. Our
Mhm.
buddy Josh Park
Yep.
sprung into action,
Yep.
as well as some folks from some other churches.
Wow.
If you're looking for a way to support the fire victims from East Coventry, I would say connect in with Josh Park at Branch Life Church.
Yep.
And I am only saying his name because that's a guy that I know,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been on the show. And I don't remember the list of the other nonprofit organizations and churches, but for sure, Branch Life Church down there in Pewtown,
Yep.
our buddy Josh Park is helping with the relief effort. Only Angela lives there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kelly does not live there. Angela lives in East Coventry. But nonetheless, that's a Porchtonian.
Yep.
So we now have one of our regular Porchtonians who's been affected by this fire. So I'm going to ask the other Porchtonians to step up to the plate if
Try
they
to
are so
find a link
inclined.
here, Matt, to throw up there. If people want to make donations. There was a big article in the paper. It happened to be one of the days that I got my paper, that my paper actually arrived at my house and didn't land on my roof. So that was exciting.
Do you remember the arcade game, Todd? You probably remember Paperboy.
Paperboy.
I used to play that all the time.
A lot of quarters
Yeah.
gone.
I do not even remember that one at all. Was that like in the same era as like Frogger and Pac-Man
Yeah.
and that stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, later, the Pac-Man
You
was
guys are a little
early.
bit younger than I am, so yeah.
Yeah.
The actual handlebars
Yes.
on the console.
The joystick was handlebars,
Mhm.
and you had to deliver newspapers along the route while avoiding various hazards and obstacles.
All right, so I'm going to put up. I'm not going to share the Mercury link because they have a paywall. But there are several organizations that are collecting gift cards to aid the families. So that would be like gift cards to like restaurants or Walmart. Probably
Mhm,
would be like super helpful, like a Walmart or a Target or just a Visa gift card, something like that.
Mhm.
They're not taking physical donations, clothing, food, and water.
No.
So here, I just copied the list of places, and I'm just gonna plop it right in there.
And listen,
So-
people want to know why they're not taking in-kind donations, because there's this concept in disaster relief that sometimes the disaster after the disaster is all the stuff that gets donated and nobody knows what to do with it.
Right, because it's like, I'm just not going to take a bunch of clothes over there because I don't know what size people are, what ages people are. There might be kids, there might be women, men. What size are they? It's not an opportunity to just like dump your cast-offs.
No,
Not
We should-
helpful.
no, it's dumping. That's what it is. It's just dumping.
Right.
And I think there's a bigger effort and movement amongst the nonprofit or non-governmental organization community, the NGO community, to allow people who are trying to help to have some choice in the type of help that they're receiving.
Right.
That's why the gift cards and all that, because that way a person can go shopping
For exactly
specifically what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't try to, like Amy's saying, don't just dump off your old wardrobe, and pretend that you're trying to be helpful.
Right.
Because
Save
that's
that
not
for
It's in
your
the
helpful.
right place, but not helpful.
No.
Save that for your friends at Christmas.
Right.
all the white elephants
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you're involved in.
Yeah.
At the holidays.
So Kelly is clarifying that Angela is her daughter. I'm not sure if you had that backwards.
Angela, yeah, I knew that it was a
Mother-daughter. but you weren't
mother-daughter
sure
team.
What direction? Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
And they also stepped up to the plate to help out with the resource team.
Yeah. So Matt,
Mm-hmm.
the newly appointed trash czar of Pottstown.
Oh my God. So let's talk about that, and then we'll get into the Black History stuff. Then
Yep.
we'll talk a little bit about women's history, and then we'll go into news and updates. So
Right.
This past Saturday on the 25th, we had the first cleanup that was sponsored by the Pottstown Cluster Religious Communities Trash Team. We had 47 volunteers that showed up.
Amazing.
Multiple types of donations were given. I'm and listen, I can't name everybody's name. I'm
Right,
going
you
to
had
try
a
to.
dumpster.
The dumpster was donated by a guy by the name of James Nelson.
Okay.
His business is James Nelson Contracting.
Mhm.
He supplied the dumpster
Very nice.
along with some wheelbarrows.
Yep.
He also came down while we were site prepping in order to lend us a hand and his professional eye on how we could make the day run smooth.
Right.
So he donated the dumpster and then helped with planning.
Right. Well, and that kind of stuff is really important because you've got this big team of almost 50 people that you need to mobilize in the most effective and efficient way possible.
Yeah.
And what's the best way to make that happen? You've got, people with pickers and bags, but you've also got heavy equipment to move stuff around. So it's important to have that plan.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it came to that, working around the equipment and everything, our heavy equipment operator was a guy by the name of Jake Angelelli, who lives over in South Pottstown.
That name sounds familiar to me.
He has a business called A&N Contractors Elite.
Okay.
And Jake and his business partner, Matt Knoxell.
Mm-hmm.
Matt has worked at the Poorhouse and also was the
Okay.
beer guy at Riverside Beverage for
Okay.
a little while.
Okay.
Jake and Matt own a construction company.
Okay.
Both have experience with machine operation and
Mhm.
heavy equipment operation. Matt helped both days of site prep and came up with an operations plan
Nice.
along with Jake. And so those guys helped out. I had help from Kathy Skitko, gave tools from Hobart's Run.
Mm-hmm.
Tamara Charles from Pottstown Community Action gave tools. We had some help from Susie Marcucci Kennedy, our literary liaison. She helped with logistical planning, was also there on the site prep days to talk about the dumpster along with Mr. Nelson. She is the one that made us the introduction to Mr. Nelson, who dropped off the dumpster.
Great.
So those were some of the people we had. I think the total was 17 businesses or nonprofits were represented by the various volunteers.
Wow.
We had people from the Pottstown Rotary, members of several churches, Leanne's Life Changing Fairies, Chris Brickhouse from Better Days Ahead. There was Beacon of Hope volunteers. So even some of the groups that help the homeless were out to help us and helped with the planning.
Right.
We had to have some people on hand to help communicate with the homeless population because there was a lot of anxiety that we were going to be down there to throw them off of the encampments, but that's not what we were doing.
You were there for.
We were just cleaning up abandoned encampments. Heidi Evans from Heidi's Pet Walking was the person who spent hours, literally hours, identifying the abandoned camps.
Right.
She actually went and talked to some of the people that lived in the camps to determine that they were abandoned.
Yeah, and she, I think she's done some of her own cleanups just on her own. Like I think
she's removed 3 abandoned encampments just on her own.
Wow. Wow.
So she was another one who was instrumental in the planning, and was also down there to lend a hand. The day went off without a hitch. We didn't really have any. Dennis Colt from Colt Rent-A-Cars also helped with logistical planning. He got 2 ATVs out there, several trailers, and ATV carts so that we could haul the trash out of the woods.
So you filled up that dumpster, which was how big? How many yards?
That was a 30-yard dumpster, and then I'm guessing that there was another 10 to 15 yards of trash that we couldn't fit in the dumpster. So I estimated at 40 yards of bagged and loose trash.
The trash, the pictures were really overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of love over here from folks.
Thank you. Hit that like and share button too.
Yeah. So thank you to you and everybody that came out and helped and donated, people that donated stuff, donated their time, donated their energy. Really, this is Pottstown at its best.
It is.
It really is.
And I will say this, what we're trying to do is just get and use this momentum that's behind this trash issue and behind this homelessness issue. I, in no way, shape, or form, want to spend more and more of my time just cleaning up after people. So behind the scenes, there's some very intelligent people that are trying to help collate some solutions so that we can do a better job of policing up our trash and taking care of our trash here in the borough of Pottstown.
Right.
Within short order, we're going to be having a meeting. We're going to be having a listening session, and people will be invited to lend their suggestions. Not just around the homeless issue, but around this idea of trash and leaf litter pickup.
Right.
So if you have some ideas, if there's something that you've been spinning your wheels on, when I announce the listening sessions, I would appreciate it if you come. We're going to start collating some of these ideas so that we can present them to our government officials. Because in my opinion, the government officials can't think of anything reasonable to do. So we need to tell them what is reasonable to do.
Right.
So that's the long run.
And it's obviously a topic that is very important to people.
Yeah.
You know, as a realtor, Matt, I mean, curb appeal
is everything.
Right.
Yeah. And some of this stuff is literally at the gateway to our town.
Sure.
So we really need to clean up our front stoop.
Right. So think about the area that you just cleaned up was just west of Riverfront Park.
Correct.
And so when people are using the trail and they're coming from Douglasville or Birdsboro and they're using the trail, which is a beautiful, amazing resource that we have that goes right through Pottstown.
Yep.
And Pottstown is roughly the middle of the Schuylkill River Trail.
Right.
Right. Roughly mile-wise.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to put our best foot forward. That's what, we want. What we don't want people to see when they're coming to Pottstown is that big, piles of trash.
Right.
Yep.
So stay tuned. There's going to be more coming, including trying to get some collaboration between citizens, non-governmental organizations, and the borough of Pottstown, so that we can start working collaboratively to put some stopgaps in place so that we don't have to keep having these cleanups. So that once we get to some system where we're actually maintaining a reasonable level of traffic, I mean, we're not going to stop this, right? It's not going to be stopped. But we can
that
certainly
would be ridiculous to think that it's going to
Right.
be able to, you can maybe try to stick your finger in the hole a little
Yeah.
bit, but it's never going to go away completely.
No, I just think that we can manage it better. And I
Yeah.
think that if we put our collective heads together, we can come up with some management solutions that are more sustainable than just relying on citizens and non-governmental organizations to continuously host
Mhm.
neighborhood cleanups.
Mhm.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Right.
I don't think it should stop. And in the
No.
meantime, we
No,
need
I think
more
that,
of them than less.
people still should go out and pick up the trash in front of their house and,
Right.
and sweep up and take care of their own area.
Mhm.
But these areas that are kind of, well, the area that you cleaned up is private property, but it's kind of, public-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, what's the best way to kind of stem the tide on this stuff?
Right. So that's our update. 47 volunteers, 17 organizations, businesses, and different groups were represented.
And you did such a great job. You didn't even need the second day.
We canceled.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
And we got it done before noon. The last bag
Holy
of trash
shit.
went into the dumpster at
You
11:45.
cleaned up that whole
Nice.
site in 4 hours?
We started at 8. The first volunteer was Jamie Sanchez, who showed up around 7:30.
Talk about a good egg, right?
She helped us with our communications and sign-in desk. And then we started working in earnest at about 8 o'clock. Dennis Culp from Culp Rent-A-Cars put the last bag of trash into the dumpster at 11:45.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Many hands make light work.
there you go. Thank you for all your help, everybody. Thanks for the support. Once again, proving Porchtonians, when they are motivated,
Yep.
step up to the plate
Yep.
and knock it out of the park.
Absolutely.
Thank you to all the Porchtonians who participated
Fantastic.
in last week's cleanup. Stay tuned for more. All right, so let's get into the Black History. Let's wrap up the Black History Month. If you remember correctly, if you have been listening to our Black History Month shows, you will remember that Todd Bainbridge, who's here with us tonight. Thanks for coming in, Todd.
Thanks for having me.
Todd is our historical liaison. He's also the moderator and the owner of Pottstown History Collective, right?
Pottstown area.
Pottstown area.
That means he
History
also covers the
Collective.
5,
Yes.
where he's from. But when he was from there, it was the 4.
We're still the 4. How many times do we have to?
He's trying to wash that stink off of him.
Right?
So anyway,
You're still in. We'll always be interlopers, Todd.
he Todd helped me with the research for this month's history lessons into Black history, and I can't thank him enough. Todd's a great researcher and a writer and a speaker on historical topics, so I really appreciate Todd for the work that he put into it. And he works for pretty cheap beer that was gifted to me.
You're very nice to share.
Yeah. So Todd found, and I don't remember if it was Todd or if it was me, but I'm just going to give the credit goes to Todd. Todd found a really interesting article about some archaeological research that's being done over at Sixpenny Creek at the old Sixpenny Colored Church. And if you remember from our historical conversations, we had a story that kind of started at Sixpenny Creek and ended at the Christiana riots, which was one of the first, actually contributed to the Civil War right here in Pennsylvania. It was basically a shootout between abolitionists.
That was a good story.
It's a great
It's a
story.
really interesting story.
And
yeah.
I've been digging into it more and more. And the more details you get about that story, the more and more interesting it becomes.
It'd be a good movie.
Unbelievable good movie.
Right? Remember when we had the Pottstown Film Festival for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And, that would be a good Pottstown movie.
Unbelievable movie. So So here's what happened. I read that article about the archaeology that's going into Sixpenny Creek, which was called the Sixpenny Creek Colored Settlement. And this archaeologist's name is Dr. Ben Cartwright, Dr. Ben Carter.
Okay.
Dr. Ben Carter from Muhlenberg. And it's his kind of hypothesis that these charcoal hearths were kind of the center of industry around this settlement, this colored settlement. Because
Charcoal what?
Charcoal hearths, where they were making charcoal.
Right.
Have you ever seen how they make charcoal? They pile up wood into these huge teepee looking piles.
Okay.
And then they cover it with dirt and earth. And then you light it on fire and it has to smolder.
Okay.
And that smoldering process removes all of the wood,
Right.
or all the water and some of the organic material, and then leaves behind charcoal.
Okay. Hearth or heart?
Hearth.
Like a fireplace. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So then that charcoal is used for fuel in these iron furnaces, amongst other places. You can, if anybody's cooked with that cowboy lump charcoal, this is kind of what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So his hypothesis is that those charcoal hearths were kind of the center of industry for that Black community. And out of those charcoal hearths and the men and women that worked around those areas, they became very safe places to participate in the Underground Railroad, because these charcoal hearths were out in the woods in remote areas where these slave hunters were less likely to find people. And also the people that worked in these charcoal hearths were outdoorsmen and outdoors women. They knew their neighborhood.
Right.
They spent a lot of time outdoors, so they could hide people away or lead slave hunters away from these areas because they knew the terrain. And it's interesting. Lots of information about who these people were, the kind of jobs that they had. Obviously, their participation in the Underground Railroad, which is kind of at the heart of his hypothesis. Wouldn't you say that,
I think
Todd?
so. Yeah.
So anyway, Pat Salnak, who's our assistant up at Glocker, knows the people that own this land where the Sixpenny Church is located at. And on the property of this, where the church was, it's now a garage. There's a burial ground, which is the oldest Black cemetery in Berks County. There is multiple Civil War veterans buried in there. And this archaeologist, Ben Cartwright, was doing a presentation for the Cole family at their house on this land that has been in the Cole family since what, Todd? Like 1852, 53?
53, I think.
Yeah.
We talked about it was before the Civil War.
Yes,
Yeah.
before the Civil War. This Cole family purchased some of this land that they still live on. The father, John, and his son. Do you remember the son's name?
Lawrence, I believe.
Okay. The father and son live on this land out there off of Geigertown Road that has been in their family since 1853.
That's amazing.
And this Ben Carter came to do a presentation for the family and also to speak with them because they're the holders and protectors of this history. Like, they know where these settlements were. They know where the buildings were. It's their ancestors that are in these stories.
Right.
So why don't you pick it up from there?
That's so cool.
So Ben, we get invited by way of Pat Salnak, who knows Barbara Cole, who invites me and Todd and my son Adam to meet Ben Carter, who's a doctor of archaeology from Muhlenberg,
Right.
in the basement of this house.
Which was incredible. I mean, a great presentation, wonderful people. I mean, they were just so welcoming. And we'll go back. It was you that found that article.
Was it? Okay.
Because Ben mentioned it during his presentation, some of the things you and I were talking about. And he said, that sounds like my article. And sure enough, it was, because I noticed some of the slides he was using. I said they looked familiar. And
Yeah.
I went back and looked, and you actually texted that to me.
Okay.
But we were there for
3 hours, 4 hours,
almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it was just a good conversation. So much information. I've known about that settlement for, I don't know, maybe 10 years.
Okay.
I like to scan old maps, and I've seen it on old maps and always wondered, tried to find information on it, and really never could. Found some information on the church, but Ben, what he found is just incredible. You know, the old deeds, the old maps. Like you said, the family knows where some of the old foundations for these homes that were along the creek are still there. They know where they're at. And it's, what boggles my mind is it's just almost lost to history. And this presentation kind of just bringing it all back to light. So it's incredible.
At one point in time, there was as many as 55 people living in this community. And just based on where it's located and some of the other underground railroad history in that area had to be a very, very important stop on the Underground Railroad. We talked about the Scarlett family that lives like literally right down the road. And John Scarlett, who was a member of the abolitionists who were involved in this Christiana riot.
Right.
There was also people that lived in that settlement, in that black settlement, that were involved in the Christiana riot, because word traveled that what was going to happen, that these slave catchers were in the neighborhood to come and try to catch this person by the name of William Parker.
They saw it on Facebook and they all rallied around.
They had the way Ben described it was they had a system in place, and they could get that word traveling faster than, you know what I mean, within hours. Within hours,
a network of like a relay of information.
And it's just amazing to me that we have this history in our backyard. And like Todd's saying, it's on the verge of being lost, but fortunately through the efforts of the Cole family and Ben Carter, it's being saved, it's being preserved. The one thing that blew my mind was, as we're talking, they kept talking about the fact that the Cole family was members of, they were stone cutters, they were masons, and amongst other things. And there's a big stone house on their property that's kind of falling down. It's on the verge of collapse. But at one time, that was owned by the Cole family, and it was built by the Cole family. And John Cole, the father, who's now in his 80s, I think he told us he's 81.
Yeah.
He said, well, when I was a kid, I went into that house and I took out, there's 3 guns there that I took out. I found them. And my uncle lived in that house, and I went into the house and I took these 3 guns. He comes back and hands me a Sharps rifle from like an 1852 Sharps cavalry carbine.
Did you shit?
In my hands.
Like
yeah. It in mint condition.
Wow.
Mint.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're holding this piece of history.
Right. And
the thing that I kept thinking was, that rifle.
What if that rifle could talk? Like, what did it see?
Where did it see? Where did it come from?
Right.
I just kept imagining some member of John Cole's family using that rifle to protect himself while he was leading some group of runaway slaves.
Right.
And there I was. You held it too, right?
Yeah. It's just incredible. I mean, it really is.
Really moving. To think about like what.
I was, Todd, I don't know about you, but I was getting goosebumps.
Were you?
Yeah, the whole time we were talking, I was just getting goosebumps. You could feel the history in that room. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, he takes us up to the living room, the main living room of the house, and there's another one hanging. And now it was a musket, but it was another 1850s musket hanging over the fireplace. He's like, that's the other gun that I took.
So, folks, when we talk about the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms, those are the arms that people are talking about. Right. It's a musket. It's like an 1850. It's not like an automatic, a semi-automatic. No. It's like a loading it with a, with a cramming the bullets down in there.
Now that Sharps rifle at that time when it came out was the top of technology. Sure. Those, a really good trained soldier could get that Sharps rifle cranking pretty fast. But the fact of the matter is that we were holding this piece of history, and I just, like I said, I just kept coming back to the belief that their ancestors had to have used those guns to protect themselves while they were conducting these Underground Railroad operations.
Of course.
Right? It just makes sense.
Right.
And then when you start thinking about that, then your mind goes right to this script or this movie that could be written about all of this stuff. And you wouldn't have to make anything up. It's all real.
You don't even really have to. You don't have to like hyperbolize anything, right?
Just tell the story. It's unbelievable. Yeah. These people living out in the woods, making charcoal, helping to make iron, helping to found the
minding their own business,
helping to find or found, literally be founders of the foundries that built America, protecting their friends and family and other runaway slaves. The story is just riveting. So when we got started in this, I guess I sent you the article first, right? You're giving me credit for finding that.
Yeah, you did. I looked at our text. You sent it to me.
So then that kicked off the research and then Todd went and found a bunch of articles. I went and found a bunch of articles, which enabled me to talk the past 2 episodes about this Black history. And we were looking for a Pottstown connection.
Yes.
I couldn't really come up with one other than the fact that it seemed logical to me that if they were conducting on the Underground Railroad and Pine Forge and Pottstown were on the Underground Railroad, certainly some of these people came through Hopewell into Pottstown and then up into Pine Forge. Like, it would just seem to make sense.
The Iron Masters all knew each other.
Right.
They were all involved to some degree with one another.
Yeah, so it just makes sense, right? So that was my initial thought on how we would find this connection. So we're sitting through this presentation. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Is there anything else that like stuck out in your mind as being like a highlight or anything like that? I feel like I'm doing
processing.
All the talking. Are you really?
Yeah. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I just popped a link in the both the Facebook and the YouTube just to the wiki page about the Christiana riot, just so folks, if they didn't happen to see the show where we talked about it in detail, you can read about it. So I just popped that in there for folks.
And if you go back on my page, if you go back onto Matt Greenick Locker Real Estate and scroll through the wall back a couple of weeks ago, I posted this article about the charcoal hearth study that Ben Carter is doing. Okay. So you can find the article that led us down this path. Here's what I found profound and really touched me in an emotional way was that this all started with some text messages between you and me. And then then
the next thing you know, you're there on the property.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Well, yeah. And meeting the family who's the property's been in their care for how many years?
Yeah. Almost 200 years.
Almost 200, yeah.
Yeah. And then meeting the author of the article that led us on this research study. I don't really get, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you're a little something up over there, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. Well, you're a history guy.
And not for nothing, I'm Black.
Right.
So this is my heritage, right? Like, this is my heritage.
Right.
And we start talking, and there's names of families that are in my family. Like, there's Greens involved in this story. There's Davises involved in this story. Right. All these names that are Nixons. Those names, Green, Davis, Nixon, are all in my family. So now I'm going to have to do a whole bunch, even to the point that one of these guys, one of the Civil War vets that's buried in that cemetery, served in the 45th Regiment of Colored Troops. My great-great-grandfather served in the same regiment. The same regiment.
Wow.
as one of the guys that's buried over there.
Right.
They could have known one another.
Absolutely
For sure.
could have.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
could have. So
I just linked it. I found a YouTube video. I haven't watched it, but it's just a YouTube video about the Christiana riot. It's about 30 minutes long.
yeah.
So I popped that in there. We'll check that out later.
So there was all these connections, and then there's a connection that goes into the Welsh Mountains, which is an area that's kind of down on the border of Chester and Lancaster County.
Okay.
And there's some part of the story goes into there because there was another kind of one of these black settlements in the Welsh Mountains that had been there for a very long time. And some of the folks coming out of the Welsh Mountains were participated in this Christiana riot and were also conductors on the Underground Railroad. And a lot of them have the last name of Green. So I have some research to do to discover whether or not I'm related to any of these people. But at the last minute, like literally the last minute of the presentation,
Very end.
Ben Carter says to me, he's like, all right, you want your connection? Are you looking for your connection to Pottstown? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, lay it on me. He's like, Jehu Davis. So the way he spells his name is Jehu. Jehu Davis.
Jehu.
Jehu. Jehu.
Right.
Him and his wife, I cannot remember his wife's name, and I should because it's Women's History Month, but I don't remember the wife's name.
Next week.
Jehu Davis and his wife made the first purchase of land that became the Sixpenny Colored Church settlement.
Oh, okay.
They bought 20 acres originally that got divided up, separated up, but became the site of this settlement and where the church is. Jehu Davis's name is on the charter for the Bethel AME Church here in Pottstown.
Right over here on Beach Street?
Yep, Beach, and that would be Beach and Franklin. There's our Pottstown connection.
There it is, 6 degrees of separation.
He sent me the deed, which I believe it's either the deed to the church itself or the deed to the burial ground.
Where is their burial ground?
Here's where I think it was. I think it was the black cemetery that was at the corner of Beach and Penn Street, across the street from the
Beach and Penn. It's right here.
Yeah, across the street from Beach and Penn. It's called Begley Hall now. It's the social hall.
Yeah, the social hall for St. Al's Church.
That's where the colored cemetery was in Pottstown.
What happened to all the graves?
Probably got paved over.
Oh. And
now I have the deed.
So maybe it's haunted.
Ben Carter has through.
Do you know what?
Yeah, go.
We should go to the library and rent their paranormal search.
To see if it's on there.
To see if it's haunted. Yeah.
To see if we can find some. I'm not going to do that, but I won't stop anybody else from giving it a shot.
Right.
So I today, as part of my research and preparation for the show, I was going to try to read that deed because it's a handwritten deed.
No, it's got like all of that really curly writing.
Yeah, and it's got a list of names on it of black people who helped purchase this land, and the land was deeded to. And again, I believe it's the deed for the church at the Bethel AME Church at the corner of Franklin and Beach. But it could be the deed for the cemetery, the colored cemetery, which I believe is the same cemetery at the corner of Beach and Penn Street. So when I get some time and a magnifying glass, I'm going to start trying to read this deed to figure out where it was. But it was just so interesting that we started out with a couple of text messages and within a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, here we are sitting in the basement of this house on this property talking to the archaeologist.
It's good to to know people and have connections.
So I got to thank Pat.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Led Todd and I right into the heart of it.
I was hoping we could go down into the woods and maybe poke around a little bit. But the presentation was
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great.
I have since emailed Ben Carter, and he sent me a couple of documents to try to get prepared for the show today. So I want to give him a shout out, and I'm going to send him the link to the show. We all agreed to stay in touch. Ben Carter is interested in coming back and having another conversation with Todd and I based on some of the research that Todd and I have done into Pottstown history, which has a connection and a link to some of the things
So
that he's
you said
doing.
he's a professor at Muhlenberg?
Muhlenberg.
Does he specifically focus on Black history in this area?
No,
or
I think he probably got, here's probably what happened. He probably got a grant from somewhere to do this study, because there is a big effort right now in trying to preserve more and more Black history in the academic world.
Right.
He didn't talk about it specifically, and I didn't. We had so many questions. We were there for 4 hours. Like, sometimes he would talk for like 2 minutes,
and then have 30 minutes answering your questions.
And Todd and the Coles and Pat and Adam, he'd talk for 2 minutes. That would touch off a half hour full of questions and other discussion.
But it was good discussion.
Yeah, it was all good. He thanked us. So, and then we all agreed that we were going to stay in touch. And then he wants to come back and hear some more stories that Todd and I have.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody else is listening and has some, as the keeper of some local Black history, please let us know. And then he wants to come back and walk on the ground again. Mm. So we all agreed to stay in touch. And like I said, he sent me a bunch of documents so that I can continue my research. I gave him some links to some research that I was doing, and I promised him that I would help him dig up some of the old research that I did into some of the enslaved Africans who worked for the Potts family in the 1760s and 1770s. Right. Yeah. It's great.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's very cool.
One thing I'd like to mention that Jehu Davis, I don't remember the exact date that they bought that property, but it was early.
It was in 1850s. I want to say it was like 1850 or 1851.
I thought it was earlier than that. But another number that sticks out in my head, 1847. Could have been.
Okay.
But Ben noted about how for a person of color to buy a property, mm-hmm. at that point in time, that they had to be a prominent citizen. People mm-hmm. had to know them and trust them, else they wouldn't sell them property.
Right.
And I would love to find more information. I did try. It's been a busy week.
Right.
But I did take some time to try to look up that name, and mm-hmm. I couldn't find anything mm-hmm. specific to Pottstown. I was trying to find a connection to the church here, mm-hmm. but I couldn't find anything. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but
I know
that's what I'm going to try to focus on and see if I can find more information on him.
So here's one of the things that I want to do, Todd. I know the people over at Bethel AME. I've done some work for them. I helped them sell that property that they owned up at the corner of Grant and Lincoln. Mm-hmm. I'm friends with Bobby Watson, who's that was another name. That Watson family name was all over that history over there. Mm-hmm. There's a good possibility in my mind that Bobby Watson from Pottstown is related to some of the people over mm-hmm. there. And I know Pastor Lockley, and I know some of the members of their board. And his name escapes me right now, but one of the gentlemen on their board did tell me that they do have a bunch of old records over that place.
That would be interesting to look
I am going to reach out to those folks and see what we can do about possibly getting over there and taking a look at some of those records. I would love to do that.
I would too.
And I think Ben Carter would probably be interested in mm-hmm. some of that stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to my dad's first cousin, is a man by the name of Jimmy Davis. And he's been one of the main historians and genealogists within my family. And there's Davis is one of the names there. Mm-hmm. And I know that his either dad or his grandfather was a Davis from Pottstown. So I'm going to connect with Jimmy and see what kind of research he has, because I know he has a whole bunch of stuff, because he's posted it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And we had a family reunion a couple of years ago mm-hmm. at the Melton Center in Westchester, and Jimmy showed up with a whole bunch of stuff.
Nice.
There's got to be, with all of these connections, and we're so close to each other, and all of this movement that must have been happening as part of the Underground Railroad, there's got to be some more connections. I think that we have some pieces of the puzzle. Now, of course, for every one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. There are 15 more.
Right. Well, and for every Davis that might be related, there's 20 Davises that aren't.
Right. But if nothing else, we'll uncover some more good history of Pottstown.
Yeah.
And since we are a pro CRT show, more Black history of Pottstown.
For sure.
So I wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah.
Todd, I'm glad we're friends, man.
So am I.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I'm
good
glad
stuff.
that I have
That's
a buddy
very,
that I
very
can
cool.
nerd
Yeah,
out with.
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's always like, it's always good to have a like-minded, friend.
Yeah.
No, Ray Maury is just tuning in. He's like, "Where's the camera?" Well, we had a little technical difficulty, Ray, but thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, so here's what's going on, I think, with the camera. I think that the software needs to update because I was getting a software update on the computer.
If we hadn't been running late, we might have been able to update it, but, busy day. We got a working birthday boy over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll fix it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can still hear us, and everything we're saying is still important.
Yeah, it's great. You can't see us picking our nose, but you can hear us.
It's actually easy for me to talk off camera because a lot of times I like to close my eyes while I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can't do that when I'm being seen.
Right. Well, and also you if you're putting up links, you're very in, you're in the screen, you're in the computer doing stuff.
So nobody's seeing me scramble around.
A little bit better, riffing.
Yeah.
For you to be able to just chat.
Just chat.
Yeah.
All right. So it's about 7:00. We do want to let everybody know that this is March 2nd. It's the second day of Women's History.
Matt's birthday.
It's my birthday. I hogged up
birthday.
Todd and I. Birthday. And then I'm going to go get some shrimps.
Down Route 100.
Route 100. Going down there. I'm going down there to Stampede on Route 10. Stampede Barbecue.
What is it?
It's on Route 10 between Moton and Elverson. It's
Moton and Elverson.
Moton.
Okay.
What's it near? It's near Joanna Furnace, which was another place that we talked about. Plowville. Yes. It was another place. All these places.
Okay.
Do you know where you get on the turnpike to go out 76?
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of getting on the turnpike, you would continue north on Route 10.
Okay.
Like you were going to Reading.
Right. Okay.
And about halfway to Reading is Stampede Barbecue. Awesome. They started out as a food truck.
Okay.
You know where the Walmart is in Elverson?
Yes.
On 23?
Yes.
They started out as a food truck across the street from that Walmart in the parking lot of that Twin Valley Coffee Roasters.
Yeah.
And they were so popular and did such a good job that they bought a place up there on Route 10. And they've been expanding it ever since.
Wow.
If you're into barbecue, it's legit.
It's worth it.
It is legit.
Yeah. So, but what are you doing for your birthday dinner?
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, you're actually going to go to
tomorrow?
Okay.
Tomorrow, not today.
Tonight.
No. Tomorrow. Everybody's coming in to town, and the only person that can't make it is Patrick, who's going to take me out for breakfast tomorrow.
Very nice.
It's a very green tradition to not do something on your birthday. Also, not to make a big deal out of your birthday.
Sometimes it's not very convenient to do it on your actual birthday.
Right. We always do things not on the actual day, and nobody's ever made a big deal out of birthdays in our house. It just wasn't a big deal.
Right.
You could pick dinner and whatever you wanted for dessert, and sometimes we would go out, sometimes we'd eat in, but that was about the extent of it.
Right.
Christmas and Thanksgiving were much bigger deals than birthdays. Birthdays.
Yeah, we always had birthday when we were little. We had birthday parties, the oldie fashioned kind of birthday parties, and I'm much more apt to make a big deal about milestone birthdays now.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I had a big party for Levi when he turned 30. I had a big party for myself when I turned 40. Big party for myself when I turned 50. Went to Scotland for Levi's 50th. Went to Japan for my 50th. Like we do those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think we made a little bit of a big deal out about my parents turning 80.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk that next week and the week after. We're going to come back with some women's history, and so we're going to talk about that. And we're coming up
on the Porchcast 3rd anniversary.
So we're going to do that.
So the 3rd anniversary of Porchcast is March 22nd, so we'll be celebrating it on March 23rd, and the porch will be open. So anybody that wants to come by, stop by to say hi. We'll advertise that week. If anybody
Studio
wants
audience.
Check it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that, so I'll just wait to be surprised. Here's what I was going to say. Let's get into news and events.
Yeah, sure. All right. Oh, Liz Harper says, I miss Boneyard Joe's. Remember that? That was like out on Shoemaker, right?
Yeah, everybody's asking me where the Stampede place is. I'm going to put a link up to Stampede Barbecue so that you can see it.
Take a big, long drive out there to Route 10.
Oh, whole 20 minutes.
Yeah. You know me, I need a travel visa to go that far.
Yeah, I know.
Ray,
you know what you could do, Amy?
Our porch here.
You know, you could
158
take
North Hanover Street.
You could take Levi on a little hike down Sixpenny Trail.
I want to go this weekend if it's not wet.
Well, I'll show you some of these. I'll show you some of this information that Ben gave to me, and then you can prepare yourself a little bit. And then if you walk along that Sixpenny Creek trail, you're gonna that trail literally takes you through the center of where that settlement used to be.
And it's not like a hike; it's just a walk in the woods, right? It's not like rugged or anything.
No, if you remember, I told you about that one parking lot off of off of Geigertown Road. If you park there and walk up the creek bed, you're going to be right behind this area where Todd and I were.
Right. But it's not like a mountain. It's just
no.
Right. It's not an aggressive hike.
No.
Right.
But here's my point. You could do that this weekend with Levi, and then once you're done, just head over to Stampede. You'd be right there.
Halfway there.
Do you know what we're doing on Saturday?
Going to church? I mean,
no, we're going to the Festival of the Arts or whatever Joe's calling it at the high school.
Yes.
So, and I think he's got some karate thing on Saturday afternoon. But we're going to go to the I forget what he's calling it, but to the show High School Musical at the high school, and it's a musical. So we're going to do that to support the Foundation for Pottstown Education. I'm assuming that there are still tickets left. If you want to go to Foundation for Pottstown Education and check that out, it's always a nice time, and the food is always excellent, and the show is always very good. So that's what we're doing on Saturday afternoon. Oh,
let me put this out there. I have 2 tickets because I sponsored that, but I'm not going to be able to go because I'm going to start rubbing some elbows related to some of this homeless stuff, and I'm going to the
Beacon of Hope fundraiser.
I'm just going to start having some conversations with people, and I'm going to keep doing it until somebody tells me to stop.
Yep.
I'm going to be polite.
Oh, of course.
But I'm going right into the center of it.
Right.
I'm going to start stirring.
Yep.
So that's what I'm doing.
Lick that spoon.
Yes. So we can't go. Gypsy Chris and I can't go. We have 2 tickets. So please reach out to me. I was hoping to give them to Susie Marcucci Kennedy. So Susie, if you want those tickets, I'll give them to you.
Oh, Susie not going to the Beacon of Hope thing? Oh,
she's going to Beacon of Hope.
Yeah.
If anybody wants my 2 tickets within the sound of my voice, please hit me up.
Yep.
Now or after the show.
That is for Saturday afternoon. I think the doors open around 4:00. I just got an email from Joe. It's always a nice time. And the food's always really good because it's prepared by the culinary students at Pottstown. And the show is always excellent, very well produced. So that is this weekend at the Pottstown High School. Here's some news and events. Community Connections, Conversations on Well-Being, sponsored by Pottstown Hospital, Creative Health Services, and the Pottstown Ministerium. You can go to pottstown.towerhealth.org/classes events. And these are virtual Teams meetings. The next one is teen well-being, then adult well-being, suicide prevention, and self-care. Remember when you just used to be lazy and watch TV all day and be a couch potato? Yeah. Now they call that self-care.
Used to?
Yeah. Now they call it self-care, Todd. That's what it is. So you'd be like, stop being so lazy. I'm not. I'm practicing self-care.
I'll remember that.
Todd's a master at self-care.
Yeah.
You could teach a master's level course. Doctorate, maybe.
Yeah.
Dr. Todd.
Me too. I'll be like, I can hang out and do nothing with the best of them. So, all right. This is Monday, March 20th, the mobile breast cancer screening 3D mammography, sponsored by Reading Hospital. It is going to be at the Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities, 57 North Franklin Street, Monday, March 20th, between 9 to 3. You do need to make an appointment. So Google Reading Hospital mobile mammography, March 20th, and you will find the link to make an appointment.
I'm going to do you better than that. I'm going to put a link
right there.
I'm going to put a link to the cluster's Facebook page in the comments, and if you scroll through their page, it's right in there.
Great. Hurricane.
That's a good Women's History Month activity.
It
Go
sure
get your
is.
tatas checked.
Mammogram saved lives. Strong history of breast cancer in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on it. I mean, I'm talking mother, sister, 2 aunts, grandmother, strong history. So I don't skip it. Ladies, get it done. Whether it's through this mobile mammography or through your regular doctor. Very important.
So go to the Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities page and find it, and then make your reservation.
Yep.
Both Todd and I are huge supporters of boobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
You hold them as much as possible.
We do.
Levi's giving a big thumbs up as well. All right.
We love to support our ladies.
Yes. To support my own ladies. Hurricane Ida survivors. If you suffered, your property suffered from Hurricane Ida, there is still time to register for some FEMA disaster relief. The deadline is March 10th, so that's coming up. And that is through Montco OIC. I don't know what the Montgomery County OIC.
I don't know.
It's not opioid-induced constipation, but that's also what OIC stands for. Just saying.
You would know.
Acronyms can have multiple meanings, but it is so up until March 10th. If you are looking for some assistance with recovery from Hurricane Ida. Diabetes Education Series, the Diabetes. This is sponsored by Pottstown Hospital. And you can go to pottstown.towerhealth.org, also classes and events. And they have the programs the third Wednesday of each month, March through August. So all sorts of different programs available for diabetes support, meal planning and holiday eating, community resources, risk education, medication and insulin management, et cetera, et cetera. I saw they just capped the price of insulin. Thank goodness. Not like you have an option. Okay. Saturday, April 22nd is the walkathon for affordable housing with the Anne Francis Outreach Foundation. And this is our friends Kelly Horvath, right?
Yes.
That shared this, yeah.
What's that? Yes. The Horvaths.
Yep. Saturday, April 10th at 10 a.m. at Riverfront Park. Beautiful park, a beautiful place that we have right here in town. And it is a walkathon for affordable housing. This is through the Anne Francis Outreach Foundation. Register by April 15th. AnneFrancis.org. That is the link.
I'm going to find their Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay. Saturday, March 11th, Candlelight Ghost Tour of Britton Lodge. That sounded fun.
Oh yeah, Britton Lodge that's the currently the Hidden River Brewing Company. Yes, has a very long history of being potentially haunted. If you're into that kind of thing. Allegedly.
Yes.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
I don't know. Growing up, half of my family thought our house was haunted. I never heard anything. My sister claims that the ghost followed her to college.
Really?
So my sister, my brother John, and my mom all have felt things in the house I grew up in. I never felt anything.
So maybe they are the person that is haunted.
Maybe they just are more in tune with that thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
My son Adam used to talk about how he could see certain people standing, like he would see some
crazy dead people.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, when he was a really little kid.
Right.
Well, and he'd be like, "Don't you see that person standing there?" And he would describe them. The one place that he always saw somebody.
It's freaky.
Do you know where Copperfields is?
Sure.
Okay, and there's the church across the street.
Yeah.
And then there's that graveyard.
Yep.
Oh, I'm getting out here.
My Adam used to see a guy standing at that corner, and he described him, like had a perfect description of what this person looked like.
So how old was Adam when this was happening?
Less than 10.
Yeah.
I'd say between the ages 6 and 8.
Okay. So that's still pretty, because a lot of times with little kids, they'll see or talk about things and people just pass it off as being like, imagination. But I don't know. I kind of believe in that stuff. Like
do you?
Incarnation and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah. Well, I never. But when I took my friend Becky to my parents' house, the house I grew up in, she swore that there was somebody sitting on the bed.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Original mini stand down. Our friend Mike the Murph.
Murph the Surf.
Murph the Surf.
Chief
appearing out of
Murphy.
nowhere. Yep. So last Saturday, or I'm sorry, the fourth Saturday every month, 5 vets, 4 vets at Veterans Island on Memorial Park. So that is from 10 to noon on the fourth Friday of every month.
We're gonna be going down to Memorial Park.
Action.
Yeah, I have a meeting on March 7th with the folks from Pottstown Little League and also the folks from Pottstown Parks and Recreation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start planning the cleanup for the ball fields. And by the ball fields, I mean Novak and Grimm and Sundstrom.
Yep.
We're going to be doing that on March 25th.
Very nice.
And then I would like to team up with Chief Murphy in order to help him get the island cleaned up, or the area between the ball fields down to the island.
Right, because it's kind of connected there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Veterans Island, next Thursday, March 9th, there is the comedy fundraiser at Soul Joel's. So that is a fundraiser for Veterans Island Project.
Yeah.
They got a lot of stuff going down there at Soul Joel's.
They do. And I had a little exchange with Joel Richardson. I did have him on my other podcast, the Castic Locker. And he's interested on coming on Porchcast Pottstown. I just have to reach back out to him and try to connect.
Dig it.
So we'll try to get Joel Richardson.
He got a lot of stuff going on down there.
A ton of stuff.
Yeah, big names too, big headliners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the new Sunnybrook. So like Sunnybrook had the big bands and all those names. So this is like, updated.
They're reviving it with comedy.
Yeah.
That's this is what we need if we're going to be serious about revitalization in Pottstown.
People come into town.
Yep.
Maybe having dinner at a restaurant beforehand and then going to see the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hazardous waste recycling. This is the Montgomery County Montco PA Recycles.org. So this is a county-sponsored event. The next one is Saturday, April 29th at Boyertown Middle School East. And this is paints and paint thinners and oil-based paint strippers, removers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Rechargeable batteries, adhesives.
It's all the stuff
fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
All that. Blah,
pool
all that
chemicals, like all the really grody stuff that you can't get rid of any other
aerosols, mercury, fluorescent tubes. Let me tell you something. It is a pain in the ass to try to find some place to take your fluorescent lights to recycle. You can't just throw them in the trash. So they will take fluorescent lights and CFLs. Those are those curly Q light bulbs that you have in your house.
Yeah.
So that is MontcoPARecycles.org.
I'm going to actually put a link up to the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Program, and you can find out more information about it. The events are going to be occurring all over the county.
Yeah, and they go on for months. There's April, May, June, September, October. So all over the county. So
if you're interested in doing that, you do have to make a reservation for some of the waste. So make sure.
But it's super easy. You drive up, they come to your car, zoop, zoop, they take it away. It's great. Very easy.
Yeah, those bulbs do have toxic gas in them. Yeah. And one of the things that those LED bulbs have them is mercury.
Yeah, super dangerous.
Yeah.
You don't want that leaching into our water.
There's a payoff for everything. Nothing is without its consequences. Of course. Right?
Of course. So another recycling event is electronics recycling. So this is stuff with a plug, if you will.
Yeah.
Saturday, March 18th at Alt House Arboretum.
Yes, one of our favorite places.
Actually, I'm sorry. It is at the Hillside Aquatic Center, sponsored by Alt House Arboretum.
Mm-hmm.
So the link, Matt, is althousearboretum.org. And it's all appliances and all metal included. So this is your computers, your laptops, your TVs. There is a donation. I think it's $10 per car.
Mm-hmm.
And for TVs and other things, there is a per unit cost. So check the website.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great way to safely dispose of those things. I'm going to call it anything with a plug.
Yeah, Gypsy Chris and I went up there a couple of years ago to get rid of an old TV that I had hanging around that I couldn't find anything to do with. And it did cost me a little bit more, but I was happy to get rid of it.
Yeah,
it
and then you
up
feel good
space.
that you're getting rid of it, but you're disposing of it safely.
Yeah, and now this year I have one of those floor model air conditioners. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
I have one that crapped out a couple of years ago.
Oh, and you got to be careful about that. Was that a hazardous because it's got Freon?
I don't know.
Not sure what
I don't know
category that falls into.
I'll do the research, but I gotta get rid of this thing.
It's not that the
I can't take it to Alt House.
No, well, you can't take it to the hazardous waste because it specifically says Freon and refrigerants are not acceptable. Yeah.
So where am I going to get rid of this damn thing?
I don't know. Well, go on the Alt House Arboretum and see if it's on the list.
If it is, I'm getting rid of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if it has Freon in it, that could be an issue.
Yeah, pain in the neck.
All right, so finally,
put a free sign on it. Put it on the curb.
Actually, put $100 sign on it, and then somebody will feel like they're stealing it.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
That's my mother-in-law always used to say.
Okay, so finally, from our friends at the Pottstown Democrats, it is petition season to get candidates on the ballot for the May and November ballots. County candidates need 250 signatures by next Tuesday. They are having a drive-by petition signing from 11 to 2 this Saturday at Riverfront Park. So if you are a registered Democrat and you are willing to help out by signing the ballot for some of our candidates, our local candidates, to get on the ballot for the May election and November, please swing by between 11 to 2 this Saturday at Riverfront Park. Drive-by petition signing. To me, sounds like you don't even need to get out of your car.
No, they'll probably hand you the clipboard right through the window.
Yeah. So if you are a registered Democrat and would like to support some of our local candidates, please help them out.
Is that Tri-County Democrats that's doing that?
I'm going to guess so. This came from Marlene Armato.
So, yes.
So I think she's involved with that group.
Yeah. So I found their link to their Facebook page.
Yep.
And I'm going to put that up, and then you can click on that link and find more about that if you are a Democrat.
Yep.
Because remember, because of our fakakta rules,
you have to be registered at that party to sign
correct
ballots.
Yeah. And we don't really support Republicans on Porchcast Pottstown.
No, we don't. It's our show. We can say whatever we want. We can say whatever we want. It's our show. Sadly, we are not beholden to any sponsors.
That's correct. Yes. Maybe. So, did you see all the stuff that's going on with Fox News?
Jesus, that was crazy.
Rupert Murdoch, basically went and testified during his deposition. Yeah. Our hosts were lying about the election.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Right. Right. But the Fox News supporters are still like,
oh, they're still going to support. They're still going to support.
Blind.
But Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Jeanine Pirro, Lou Dobbs.
Tucker Carlson should be in jail.
The damage that man has done to democracy is just beyond belief.
I'm sorry. I would like to just punch him in his smug face.
Since we're talking about news, I just wanted to update everybody. If you're not aware of what's going on with the Dominion versus Fox News case,
it's really it's we're kind of like laughing about it now, but it is not at all funny.
No, it's not funny at all.
It is horrible. It is horrible.
Democracy is literally at stake.
Yes.
And if you want to find out what's going on with democracy, just watch or read some of these updates that's coming out of this Dominion case. Right. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Dominion is the company that makes the software for some of these voting machines. Right. And Fox and Fox News hosts were blaming the loss of Trump on these Dominion machines. So Dominion has now sued Fox for defamation.
Sure.
Multi-billion dollar lawsuit.
Yes.
And based on the reporting that's coming out of it, doesn't look very good for Fox.
Looking very good.
Gonna owe people some money.
Yeah. The other story you got to be following is George Santos, which is the most unbelievable.
The amount of lying that this guy has done.
He's just an absolute certified sociopath.
Yeah, sure, on some level. Yeah,
of the party is like calling for his removal of his own party.
Yeah.
And he just digging his heels in.
Yeah.
Like just digging his heels right in. Now, if that was a Democrat, they would have been, gone slinking away.
Well, his own party, the Republicans could put forth a vote within their caucus to remove him, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to.
It is.
Do you remember?
It's an unbelievable story.
Do you remember a guy by the name of Al Franken, senator from Minnesota?
There was one picture of him, like maybe partially, kind of quasi touching somebody's boob, and he had to quit.
Yeah, remember Al Franken is a comedian.
Yeah.
So during the time that he was a comedian, he went on a USO tour and made a joke about a woman's boobs behind stage.
Right. As a comedian.
Privately.
Right.
With a group of people who he thought were his friends, made a boob joke.
Yep.
And had to resign from being frickin' senator.
Right. He didn't have to, but he did.
He did.
But if he was a Republican, he would have just dug in.
Royal proportions by the Democratic Party.
Yep.
Now you have this Santos guy. No one really even knows what the truth is anymore because he's lied about every single thing.
Right.
Are you aware that he's facing criminal charges in Brazil?
Yes. Yes. I know, it's absurd. It's absurd. It is for anybody that watched the Netflix show Inventing Anna, which was a story about this fake German heiress who it's basically the same story. It's basically the same story. She just came in and just lied her way through millions of dollars.
There's a movie about her. I watched the movie.
It was a Netflix series. It is basically that story, but worse because this man is in Congress. Susie says an ethic investigation was opened on Santos today. Great. It should have been opened like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll see what happens there.
Crazy.
It'll be interesting.
Yep. So anyway, all right, it's 7:23. Happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you.
Birthday, Matt.
Thank you to Todd for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And for it's really interesting stuff, you guys.
Let me get a link to the Pottstown Area History Collective, and I'm going to put that up. If you haven't visited that page or joined that page, please do so.
Yeah.
Todd does great work.
Yep.
His articles are always very well researched. I like the style in which Todd writes. It's very easy to digest.
Yep.
And still provides you with a lot of really, really good information. I firmly believe that one of the ways that we can become more proud of Pottstown is by knowing about its past and our achievements here. And some of our more recent research, people of all races in Pottstown have something to be proud of. I mean, what Todd and I are finding is that this area was very, very strongly involved in the abolition movement and the Underground Railroad. So this is really important stuff. And here in Pottstown, we're the keepers of this history.
Yep.
So be proud of who you are as a Pottstonian. So, and Todd's going to keep helping us, right?
I will. Keep feeding me beer. I'll keep going.
It's a deal. Perfect. That's about all we can afford.
That's all we can afford to do.
You got me.
Did put up a link to Todd's Facebook group in there. Please join that page if you want to learn more about Pottstown history. I can't say it enough. It's very well done.
It is.
I'm glad to be friends with Todd, and I'm glad that he's our Porchcast history liaison.
Thanks, guys.
Remember to like, share, and comment. Our like, shares, and comments help us get the word out. If you want to spread the word about things that are going on in Porchcast Pottstown land or in Pottstown in general, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. As always, this is a class participation event. We like the comments. Even if you're just saying hello, how are you? Put those comments up. Remember to subscribe at YouTube. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It is a much easier platform to watch our old episodes. If you want to go back and look at some of the past reporting that we have done on this Black history topic, I would suggest that you go over to YouTube and look up those past episodes if you want to get more in-depth information about the things that Todd and I talked about. Finally, before I do the breakdown, questions, comments, and critique can be directed to pottstownreports@gmail.com. If you have a question about the show, if you want to make a comment about the show, if you want to tell us something that we're not doing right, please send it to pottstownreports@gmail.com. Pottstown Reports is a collaborative effort between us here on Porchcast and the folks over at Eye on Pottstown. Eye on Pottstown folks keep an eye on trending hot topics and then let us know what Amy and I and Todd and whoever else comes on the show should talk about.
Yes.
pottstownreports@gmail.com. Send us your questions, comments, and critique. I am Matt Green. I am your local real estate expert. I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you want to become an investor in real estate, if you want to know what that looks like, if you want to try to develop your real estate investment business plan, if you want to learn how to become a flipper, if you want to learn how to buy multi-units and leverage the equity in multi-units to buy more multi-units, give me a call. I'll help you with your business plan. And I charge $0 for that consultation. Free. Hit me up. I'll help you out. I am very, very interested in the revitalization of Pottstown. And if you are, and you want to work hard, and you want to find out what it takes to become a real estate investor, give me a call. 610-310-4252. Free advice. Amy Wolf is the office manager at Wolf Baldwin Associates, bringing you fine legal service in the borough of Pottstown for 50 years.
Yes.
Levi Wolf is your workman's compensation specialist. If you're having an issue related to your workman's compensation benefits, please call Levi Wolf at Wolf Baldwin and Associates. Your consultation is
free.
Levi,
even if you're not having an issue,
just
case review.
Make
sure you're getting everything you're entitled to.
And how much would that cost?
It's free.
Nice.
Yeah, right. And you might get some money.
Right.
Levi Wolf is certified by the courts of Pennsylvania. He's a certified specialist.
Sure is.
Todd Bainbridge, local historian, local boy done good. Pottstown Area History Collective. Check him out. We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.